The smell hit me before my phone did. It wasn't the cozy wood smoke of a neighbor's fireplace or the faint char of a distant bonfire. This was sharp, chemical, like melting plastic and ancient cedar going up in a hurry. I'd know that smell anywhere 30 years as a fire captain will do that to you. My eyes snapped open in the pitch black of my apartment in Willow Creek, miles from Pine Hollow Lake. A heartbeat before my phone started buzzing like a trapped hornet on the nightstand. It wasn't a call. It was the security app screaming at me. My chest tightened, a cold dread sinking into my bones. The Pine Hollow cabin. My family's refuge, built by my grandfather's hands. The place where my late wife, Emily, and I spent countless summers. My phone lit up the room, spitting out alerts time-stamped 3:17 a.m., September 12, 2024. My thumb slipped twice before I got the live feed open, and what I saw was a nightmare in grainy night vision. The camera, perched on an old oak by the lake, showed no cabin, just a roaring inferno lighting up the shoreline, the flames screaming out of shattered windows, the roof caving in like a dying beast. My training kicked in, my brain clocking the fire's speed, the unnatural intensity. This wasn't a frayed wire or a forgotten candle. This was deliberate, an accelerant. I swiped to the recorded clips, my breath caught in my throat. The system saves 30 seconds before any motion trigger. The first clip was just the quiet dock, moonlight dancing on the water. The second, timestamped 3:14 a.m., froze my blood. A figure strolled into view, calm as you please, right down the center of my dock toward the boathouse attached to the cabin. The infrared wasn't sharp enough for a face, but the reflective lettering on their jacket screamed loud and clear, HOA security. Only one person wore that jacket on her self-appointed patrol's, Lillian Harper, the HOA president. She paused by the boathouse door, out of the camera's direct sight, for maybe 5 seconds, then turned and walked off, cool as a cucumber. 3 minutes later, my life's heart went up in smoke. This wasn't random. I'd just come back from a month-long fishing trip in the mountains, my first real break since Emily passed. The second I got home, violation notices were taped to my door. Lillian had called a snap HOA meeting while I was gone, passing a new rule about aesthetic consistency. My new solar panels, installed by professionals, were suddenly a violation. The dock I'd extended for my grandkids to fish from? Also a violation. I told her straight up the panels were county approved, the dock was on my land, and I wasn't touching either. She'd given me that smug, tight-lipped smile and said, "We'll see about that, Mr. Bennett." Now, watching the flames devour my home, her words rang like a threat. By dawn, the volunteer fire crew had given up. The cabin was a blackened husk. I stood behind the yellow tape, the air thick with the stench of charred wood and loss. All I had left were the video backups on my cloud Cervera habit from my fire captain days. You always keep evidence safe. My first call was to my insurance company. The agent's voice was all polished sympathy. "I'm sorry, Mr. Bennett. Your claim's on hold pending an arson investigation." My grip tightened. Arson? Based on what? The fire marshal's report isn't even done. A pause, papers shuffling. An anonymous tip came into our fraud hotline at 4:30 a.m. today. Anonymous. It was too clean, too calculated. Lillian knew an arson flag would freeze my payout, bury me in debt, and force me to sell the land to her developer cronies. I spent the morning walking the ruins, the ground still warm. Near the boathouse, my boot hit something solid in the ash. I knelt, brushing away soot, and found the brass padlock my grandfather had hung on the boathouse door decades ago. Warped, melted shut, heavy with history. I held it, feeling the weight of everything I'd lost: Emily's laughter, our kids' summer nights, our life. Lillian thought she'd won, but she'd just lit a different kind of fire. She didn't wait for the ashes to cool. 2 days later, a crisp envelope appeared on my apartment door from the Pine Hollow HOA. No condolences, just violation notices on thick cardstock, dripping with fake authority. One fined me $500 for failure to maintain property. The ashes of my cabin were an eyesore. Another $500 for my hazardous, half-burned dock. The kicker? A demand to clear the site within 72 hours or face $200 daily fines, with a pre-filled form to hire their preferred vendor for the job. It was a trap to bankrupt me into selling. I laid the papers on my kitchen table when a knock came. It was Ethan, Lillian's nephew. in a ridiculous HOA security polo, holding a clipboard. "Just making sure you got the notices, Mr. Bennett," he said, puffing up. "Aunt Lillian wants your signature on the cleanup form to speed things up." I picked up a pen, but instead of signing, I wrote across the notice, "I will not authorize any work until an independent fire investigation and structural assessment are complete." I handed it back. "Give this to your aunt. Tell her state law lets me choose my own contractors." Ethan's smirk faded. He wasn't ready for calm defiance. He grabbed the papers and stormed off. An hour later, my phone rang. It was Tom Grayson, a retired sheriff I'd known for decades. "Don't touch that property, Daniel," he growled. "Treat it like a crime scene." "It is one." I told him about the footage of Lillian. "Good. Save it in 3 places. I've got a buddy with a drone license. We'll map the burn pattern before it's tampered with." Then Sarah Mills, an electrician from down the lake, called. "Daniel, the volunteer firefighters are saying the marshal's leaning toward faulty wiring." "That's nonsense. I rewired your cabin 5 years, Aga County approved, up to code. If they pin this on electrical, I'll prove them wrong myself." Their calls were a lifeline, a spark of hope against Lillian's empire of petty rules. Then the fire marshal's report arrived. It claimed the fire started in the cabin's utility closet from an electrical fault. Impossible. My footage showed the glow starting by the boathouse, where Lillian stood. The burn patterns confirmed it fire spread inward, not from the closet on the opposite side. This wasn't a mistake. It was a lie, a paper trail rewritten to clear Lillian and screw me. I turned my apartment into a war room. A fire captain knows you win with evidence, not emotion. I needed independent proof. At Dawson's Bait and Tackle, a half-mile down the lake, their weathered camera caught a faint orange glow at 3:17 a.m., right at my property. No boat traffic, no one else around. The boat rental pier's camera showed a gray SUV Lillian centering my private road before the fire and leaving after. A neighbor's Starlapse GoPro sealed it. One figure on my dock, a flicker by the boathouse, then an orange explosion. Next, I got the HOA minutes. Buried in them was Lillian's patrol assignment for that night, 1 a.m. to 5 a.m., at my dock. She wasn't just there, she was ordered to be. Then the insurance tip. I had a tech friend trace the email headers. The anonymous arson tip came from the same IP as the HOA's office computer, likely sent by Ethan. Sloppy. The final piece was the HOA's financials, showing $600 monthly payments to E. Harper Security Consulting, Ethan, funded by our dues to act as Lillian's thug. We went public. Tom's friend posted 3 scrub stills on the Pine Hollow Community Facebook group. Lillian on my dock at 3:14 a.m. The first flames at 3:17, the inferno at 3:20. The caption? Who was on this dock before the fire? The post exploded, comments piling up. Lillian responded, calling the images AI-generated lies and threatening fines. It was a desperate, stupid lie. At the next HOA meeting, the clubhouse was packed. Lillian tried to bulldoze through her agenda, but I stood, pinning a map of the lake to the wall. "The marshal says my fire started inside," I said, marking the closet. "So how did an electrical fault walk down my dock in work boots?" The crowd murmured. Lillian slammed her gavel, shouting about defamation, when the door opened. Rachel Holt from Channel 7 News walked in, camera rolling. "MS. Harper, why is your HOA jacket in the sheriff's evidence locker for an arson investigation?" Lillian froze, her empire cracking under the lights. The news segment aired at 10 p.m., laying out the photos, the fake report, and the jacket. The county phones rang off the hook. The case was reopened with a state investigator. But Lillian doubled down, slapping me with a restraining order for harassment. At the hearing, she swore she was home all night. I played the footage. The courtroom monitor showed her on my dock, the glow starting seconds later. "She lied under oath," I said. "That's perjury." The magistrate denied her petition with a single gavel tap. Then we built the binder, a timeline, drone photos, videos, Sarah's affidavit debunking the electrical lie, IP data, and HOA financials showing Lillian's kickbacks. I dropped it at the prosecutor's office and filed a civil suit against Lillian and the HOA. A week later, Rachel Holt caught Lillian being served in the clubhouse lot, her face a mask of dread on live TV. The trial was brutal. Tom testified on evidence handling. Sarah shredded the marshal's report. The drone pilot confirmed the fire's origin, and the IT guy nailed the IP match. Lillian's lawyer had nothing. The judge found her liable for arson, fraud, perjury, and embezzlement, ordering $350,000 in restitution and her permanent removal from the HOA. Deputies cuffed her as she sat, silent, defeated. The HOA dissolved a month later, voted out by residents. I rebuilt the cabin, standing on its new deck as the sun rose over Pine Hollow, Emily's anchor charm gleaming on a dock post. Lillian thought she could burn my past and bury me. She learned the hard way. You can't own the truth. It always rises. So what do you think? Was Lillian just a power-hungry tyrant, or did she have a deeper motive we missed? Should I have gone public sooner, or was the slow burn the only way to trap her? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button if you felt the heat, and subscribe for more stories where the little guy fights back. Where are you watching from? Let's see how far this fire spreads.